forward for the future. But first up, though, is our Quantum road test. The economy-minded folks at Volkswagen are trying to crack the bigger car market with a new model, the all-new Quantum. It's compact size, designed to replace the old Dasher. You can get it in a two-door hatchback coupe, a four-door sedan, and a four-door wagon. That's the one we're about to see in this road test. In a word, Quantum means quantity or amount, and Volkswagen does have a large amount of prestige riding on this fresh, upmarket car line. Base price for our wagon is $10,950, with our GL test car costing over $12,700. We have a gasoline version, but a turbocharged diesel may eventually be offered. Styling is smooth, but with plenty of Germanic reserve. Your first impressions of its taut lines is that this wagon is larger than it is. But don't be fooled. Since almost everybody knows a rabbit when they see one, we offer our staffer's car for comparison. The Quantum wagon is 29 inches longer, but only 3.5 inches wider. It's also a full half-inch closer to the ground than its forerunning EconoBox cousin. The interior of the Quantum is large and airy, with lots of headroom. But we wish part of that space had been used for larger seats. There's little thigh support, and the cushion is tilted too far forward. Width is also at a premium, though the seats are very firm and offer good back support. The dash, as in the recently tested Scirocco, is more stylish than in the past. The instrument cluster here is actually similar to the Sports Coupe. That includes the notorious upshift indicator, which reminds you to move to higher gears for best fuel economy. It's so annoying it works. Anything to keep it off. The result is better mileage, but less driving pleasure. The 74 horsepower fuel-injected Rabbit four-cylinder does an admirable job of pulling 2,550 Quantum pounds. The 5-speed manual, with overdrive in both top gears, is smooth shifting with a good clutch. But I think Volkswagen's gone a bit soft in the suspension. There's quite a bit of body roll, even when lightly loaded. The rack and pinion steering is also a mixed blessing. Very light and quick, but the power assist robs almost all expected road feel. You'll find adequate but not abundant power from this VW when trying to wedge into a lane of fast-moving interstate traffic. A time of 10.2 seconds and a speed of 53 miles per hour over our 500-foot course is considered fair. But if you have to pass that semi, you'll be glad to know it only takes 5.1 seconds to accelerate from 40 to 55 miles per hour. That seems to indicate the Quantum has more mid-range power, a plus for everyday driving. In our low-speed slalom course, exit speeds were high. Though body roll was distracting, near-neutral steering, little torque steer, and a rear end firmly planted on the pavement made switchbacks a pleasure. The Quantum features a new so-called track-correcting rear axle and suspension that does a good job of keeping this 100-inch wheelbase car under control. High-speed accident avoidance maneuvers should also pose no problem for the average driver. The car never went wide, always staying in the lane intended. But if you find a U-turn in order, you'd better have enough room for the Quantum's 37-foot turning diameter. Since so much engineering went into the Quantum, we'd be surprised if the brakes weren't up to snuff. And indeed, from 30 miles per hour, only 30 feet were needed to stop. There was no fade, and the VW refused to budge from the straight-on position, despite constant front disc locking. Brakes were even better at 55 miles per hour. Extremely short halts of 113 feet with only minimal fade were recorded. Our staff reports that the Quantum's brakes are secure and without any obvious faults. Rear seat room for 2 adults is generous, and split seat backs mean that extra long and thin items can be carried without totally eliminating backseat passengers. At the Quantum's other end, that long hood covers a Rabbit engine mounted lengthwise, not transversely. That means not only are plugs, filters, and most fluid containers easy to service, but front drive belts should even be a snap. As for fuel economy, always a high priority at VW, the Quantum may be slightly overrated. The EPA says 28 city, 41 highway is optimum. During our test, a combined figure of 30 was consistently noted. That looks poor compared to the government's rating, but is actually quite good for a wagon this size. We found the Volkswagen Quantum wagon to be a very modern, competent family car. We should note that VW picked the name because of another definition of quantum, one that has to do with the transformation of energy in nuclear physics. Apparently, they want us to know that this is a car of the latest technology, but both descriptions fit. It's bigger and more advanced, and above all, as their ads proclaim, it's a Volkswagen.